First bite of the day, guys. Mr. Mark.
What's a good fish?
Yeah, he's been in that rod pretty solid.
Oh, this is a big one.
Alright guys, so we're here with Mr. Mark Armstrong, and he's been doing this ice fishing out here in Colorado and now Wyoming for quite a few years. What year would you say that you first started ice fishing in Colorado?
1980.
1980, so many years back, and he's developed this system, rod, reel. Why don't you tell him a little bit about the piano wire to start?
Well, this whole system was designed to hold and detect strikes. So, that's what I did is over the years, Ontario and 11 Mile, I watched the hits, and I noticed how they'd feel that pressure the minute they hit it. So they had an opportunity, because they're straight down, they're plumb, so they can react and slack it, because they're directly below the hole. And I thought, man, I'm just not fast enough, because we didn't have jaw jackers then. So I needed to enhance the time to set strike. Keeping two rods next to me is a plus, but when they grab it, they feel really almost zero pressure, and they move away from plumb, which is center. As they move, this system slowly drops. If you looked at it on a graph, it'd be a real slow pressure until the wire actually hit the edge of the ice, and then the pressure spikes. So it gives you a second more time to actually hammer it. See, the big fish are not moving quick. They're moving real methodically slow, so they can really feel that and react. The ones we were getting this morning, they're feeding on plankton, they're hauling butt through this water with their mouths open, eating that tiny zooplankton. So that's why we're seeing these violent strikes, the rod wrapping around. But I'm a lunker hunter, and I want the big ones. So as they grab it, this whole system just slowly bows down. And people, I'm seeing so many short rods out there. That's not dampening the shock of these big fish, and it's making it really tough to land. So I got a big ugly stick, and I built it. I ribbed it to about here with another rod inside, and then when it bows, it's no different than a short rod, but you're approaching the hole, watching the fish, and it's dampening the shock. What that long rod doesn't dampen, the reel does, and that's where it falls into the rest of the system. I kicked this little button off here, and that's anti-reverse. So after I've set the strike, my finger touches this, kicks off, lightly lays on this wheel, and now I can control the fish by a back reeling motion with a light amount of pressure to this reel. And what that does is allows the fish to run straight away from the hole. It wiggles that hook, even a 32nd ounce, up through the barb and into the top of their lid. So you're not going to lose. Not to mention, on top of that, it's easy on knots. It's not beating your knots. You don't have, I've got 3-4 trips without retying a knot. It's just that easy on them. So when it runs back runs, since there's only two types of reels that prevent line twist when you're out there fishing. One is if you're going to use a fly reel, a 1-to-1 retrieve ratio. If you're going to use the new fly reel looking ice fishing reels that weigh multiple ounces, that's fine. Or a bait casting reel. They all prevent line twists because they're wound on the same way they come off. Even these reels get line twist if it comes off at the drag. But my drag is only set for a fail-safe. So when I set strike on a big fish, it goes zip, and that's all I hear, because my finger again pushes that down, lays on the wheel. I'm unwinding the line the same way it was wound. So, no line twist. Longevity. Control. 4.5 ounces. The lightest big fish reel made. I've converted to ice fishing. And it's about time somebody looks at that. Because coming out with, I mean, I can honestly say I'm catching the biggest fish with the lightest amount of weight in my hand. I know guys, they use tip-ups that hand line. Yeah, they're catching good fish with just line in their hand. But this system here weighs under 5 ounces. Rod, reel, and pole, and rod saver.
So I know you started out by calling your jigs Icefire. Is that correct? Is that also what this system is labeled under?
It's all labeled under Icefire. Finally got a patent on the reel. Looking for investors. I'll find something eventually.
So I want to show the guys up close. So basically he's get it to where the back reel is enabled, and he's got a wheel on this side that you can put your finger up against to apply pressure. So what he's saying is the line comes off the reel, the handle starts spinning backwards, and you create your own drag.
Right.
Which is amazing, because he's saying as you wind it on and it pulls off that way, you don't get that line twist that all of you fishermen are probably very used to getting, that line twist, which can lose you a fish. Alright, so these are the hot jigs right here. They're called Icefire. Hand tied by Mark himself, and he's been using these things for 30 to 40 plus years.
Use these more first ice, but they work year round. It's got a diamond rhinestone, the heads glow in the dark, all fluorescent. These are 32nd ounce in size. As they unwind, they send off little flashes like scales coming off a fish that's been hit, and it brings them over.
They look like some good jigs you got there, Mark, and obviously they're working because we're catching fish, and he's been using those for 40 years pulling monsters out. Here he goes. So Mark's going to tell you a little bit about this fish house, fish trap, however you want to call it.
All right, so over the years I had companies send me a lot of their huts. They're great, they keep you warm, but I kind of like this. I've seen elk, deer, coyotes, vitamin D. I painted the outside of this windbreak with Flex Seal, so in case whatever I do something stupid, it floats. It's made out of real thin ply. It's all black. It's a solar hut. So sitting in here right now, it's 50 degrees inside here, as opposed to outside. I always have a 20 to 30 degree increase in temperature. It blocks the wind. Next year I'm going to put covered doors on it so I can even get a better windbreak. It breaks it around my wires so I can read them on the worst day. It doesn't tip over. If I get into 40 plus mile an hour winds, I put an ice anchor down back there and it stays put. I fell asleep in these things. It's got storage underneath so I can, put clothes or whatever under here. This is, kind of nice to have a place to stash. It's a hot box under there. It's a solar hot box. So if it's really cold, I don't want the fish to freeze. If I'm taking one or two home, I'll put them under there. They won't freeze. It's absolutely incredible. I've got my weather radio in here, my GoPro mount, place to store sunglasses. I keep binoculars in here because I like to see what other fishermen are doing. So basically, it's very lightweight. I can pull it across these lakes with a good snow just with one arm. We're going to put a chartreuse on one. We're going to put a hot pink on the other.
"17.5-inch Yellowstone cutthroat, my first." Let's let him go. That's what we like, guys. Another beautiful rainbow. This place holds some chunkers. Nice looking fish, guys. We got them on the Icefire jig, spawn orange. Icefire jigs, guys, they don't let you down. Mr. Mark has it dialed here in Wyoming with those Icefire jigs. All right, guys, I hardly had time to let that other fish go before this one hit. Look at the colors on that fish. Nope. He said, They've all been pretty similar in size, but they are beautiful, guys. Try not to let them slam on the ground. We're gonna go ahead and release them. Another beautiful fish. Fish of the day. I'm gonna go ahead and let him go now.
We're not done fishing yet.
All right, Mark's got another spot in mind. Oh, got one! Got one! Fish on! Fish on, guys! Oh, he's on the piling. Yes! He came around the piling. Big fish, guys. My biggest brown ever. We're just taking our time on him.
A big fish brown. Oh, God.
Oh, he's in the net, guys. Woo! Thank you so much, Mr. Mark. Put me on the spot. All right, guys, if you want browns like this and experiences like I've had this last couple episodes, you know who to call. This is Mr. Mark Armstrong right here. I'm gonna label his number, his email, the whole thing right underneath. If you can't read it on this card, there's him ice fishing. Here's him in the summer with a big brown. There they are, guys. I'm literally flying above the world right now. So pumped up, guys.